On this episode of New Mexico Frontiers, with depression on the rise throughout the U.S., one local company is looking to reduce the wait time to determine the best treatment for patients through genomic technology. Plus, we're meeting an engineer at Veris Research whose unique skills prompted a multi-agency campaign to keep his talent right here in the state. And a group of students in Santa Fe are taking school safety into their own hands. The shot-spotting technology they've developed in the fight against guns on campus. New Mexico Frontiers starts right now.
This is New Mexico Frontiers, presented by Veris Research.
Hello, and welcome to New Mexico Frontiers. I'm Chad Brummett. Campus life for high schoolers these days is wrought with various challenges, among them keeping students and faculty safe from an active shooter. However, a small group of students at Santa Fe's Capitol High are taking this challenge into their own hands.
I remember in my freshman year, a kid actually took a gun to a school. He didn't shoot it, it was on campus, and there was a lockdown. We couldn't go on campus at all. And that kind of put a little shock in me, thinking that right away my freshman year I have an encounter with a gun on campus.
It's an all too familiar drill.
When the shooting happened down by the library, I was heading into the school right across the street, and we were on lockdown for like 2 hours, I think.
Students in the 21st century confronted with the everyday threat of gun violence on campus.
For me, I came from Saudi Arabia. I studied there most of my life, and I didn't have to worry oh my God, somebody has a gun. I just have to study and live my life as a normal kid. But now I'm here in the US, I have to think about oh my God, people have guns and you can actually die from school, and it really shocks me.
Hayes, Edward, and Craig are like millions of other teens in America, working toward graduation, honing new skills and interests, and living under the specter of mass shootings at school. They, along with friends Raul and Jesse, are also unique in the fact that they are developing technology that they hope could one day save lives.
Questions?
They're part of the Computer Science Club at Capitol High School in Santa Fe, a group founded by teacher Barbara Tederex.
This girl just graduated from New Mexico Tech with a bachelor in physics.
For years, the group has been defying odds and competing in national competitions for technology, despite a lack of resources. A few years back, retired computer engineer David Ritter felt compelled to volunteer as a mentor for the group.
And you can ask these guys, they can get up and they can give you a half-hour lecture on how this works.
Seeing real passion and curiosity within the walls of this Title I school.
They told me stories about, going down to this end of town and having a kid wanting to make a battery out of a potato. Okay, that's his project. And that he couldn't continue it because his mother couldn't afford to get any more potatoes.
Refusing to let students' interest get lost due to financial constraints, Ritter set out to help fund the organization and mentor its students.
So this new Scooby.
Among the group's successes are Snoopy, a robot that measures air quality, Smokey, a second-generation device created to detect smoke from wildfires, and now Scooby, which is designed to detect gunshots in schools.
The reports I hear, they interview the people, and they hear a loud noise and they don't know what it is, and they don't know where it came from. And I said, that's a technological problem. We can solve that.
Scooby employs 4 microphones that are able to gauge the distance of a gunshot based on their spatial relationship. A 5th mic acts as a trigger, looking for the specific waveform of a gunshot. The students have tested and isolated that particular sound wave and coded the device to pick up on only that sound. As Ritter and his team of young scientists say, as few as 2 devices can work in concert to triangulate the location of the shot, immediately allowing administrators to know where on campus a potential threat is coming from.
We're just slowly working our way through it, and they're seeing how an actual real project happens in the real world. You have an idea that you want to do something, and you just start working the problem.
In addition to the technical education and a slew of awards for Scooby and their other projects, the club is learning vital lessons that can be applied to any future career.
Working in a team-based environment really just changes that, and it allows you to really just, in general, connect with people and work better and more efficiently.
This is just amazing, and they don't mind to come to school during summer, right, and still learn. I am incredibly proud of them and happy for them also, right?
Ritter was able to get the students on an internship program this summer, allowing them to earn a stipend while working on the device and its software. Well, coming up after the break, we are learning more about an inaugural campaign through the Department of Energy that is aimed at giving minority-serving schools a leg up in clean energy development. And later, a local startup that is looking to help those suffering from depression with better and faster results. New Mexico Frontiers will be right back.
Veris Research is the title sponsor of New Mexico Frontiers.
Veris Research was founded on the idea to have a culture and an environment where talented people could come to pursue their passions. If you are passionate about technology and want to make a difference, join our team at Veris Research. Let's create solutions that matter.
The Department of Energy has launched an inaugural program aimed at bringing more minority-serving universities into the mission of developing clean energy solutions. And as we discovered this summer, UNM has a seat at the table for the 10-week consortium happening in Colorado. The effort to develop clean energy solutions requires collaboration across multiple sectors: the federal government, academic institutions, and private business.
What we're really trying to do is make sure that as the clean energy transition occurs, that it's occurring in an equitable fashion.
With the goal of wrapping the most brilliant minds around the issue of clean energy, the DOE has launched the Faces Cohort, which stands for Faculty Applied Clean Energy Sciences. It's an inaugural campaign that's committed to including scientists from all walks of life.
So we wanted to make sure to do this specifically for minority-serving institutions, to make sure that faculty and students from minority-serving institutions, such as the ones in New Mexico where you have a lot of Hispanic-serving institutions, we want to make sure that the work that DOE is doing and the up-to-date work that we're doing in clean energy technology really gets dispersed around the country throughout all universities.
Professors from universities in Texas, Hawaii, New York, and Puerto Rico, among others, convene in Golden, Colorado for a 10-week program where they'll work with DOE labs on developing their own curriculums specific to their communities. Here in New Mexico, Tito Busani, assistant professor of electrical and computer engineering at UNM, is developing a program that will focus on photovoltaics, a fancy way of saying solar energy, as it relates to water consumption, something that is of constant concern here in the state.
For a community in New Mexico, it's fundamental reducing the water need for agricultural and fostering self-sustainable communities.
The work that is done will then hopefully translate to new curriculum at UNM and other participating institutions, eventually navigating the network of schools serving minority populations.
We want the results that come out of the work that the faculty will be doing during the summer to not only affect the faculty, but to come back and be applied in their classrooms to be able to affect future clean energy professionals that are now in the classroom.
Busani says there are two components to their program, one focused on the science behind water consumption and solar energy, and the second being the business behind getting their work to market. Well, after the break, we are diving into the work at Circular Genomics, a company looking to bring faster relief to those suffering from depression. And later, we sit down with an engineer at Veris Research who had a small army of advocates working to keep his talents in the land of enchantment.
New Space is the proud aerospace sponsor of New Mexico Frontiers.
New Space New Mexico is now New Space Nexus. We bring together the people and technology leaders to unite and ignite, driving space innovation to new plateaus for the nation and the world. New Space Nexus is the proud aerospace sponsor of New Mexico Frontiers.
More Americans are suffering from depression now than ever before. That is according to a Gallup study conducted last year. Now, that study also found that minorities experience depression at twice the rate of adults. One local company has made it their mission to find solutions to this growing health crisis through genomic technology. Depression is on the rise here in the United States. Since COVID, the number of Americans suffering from acute and prolonged depression has increased from 21.6% in 2019 to nearly 30% in 2023.
The challenge with depression, even though the pandemic is over, the COVID pandemic, we're still really facing a pandemic of mental health issues.
While there are a variety of factors that can cause depression, the most common treatment for the condition is a set of medications known as SSRIs, which stands for selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. However, patients know them better as citalopram, Prozac, Paxil, and Zoloft, just to name a few.
A typical diagnosis for depression goes something like this. You go to your doctor and you talk through your symptoms. They come to a diagnosis of depression. Then they will prescribe the patient an antidepressant. Then you wait. And wait. And wait. You're waiting to see if that particular medication is actually working. And according to Circular Genomics CEO Paul Sargent, that process can take anywhere from a few weeks, or it can even take up to a year.
There's been so much stigma surrounding depression, and I think that's now lifting. We need better approaches, better diagnostic tools, and better prognostic tools.
Which is the mission here at Circular Genomics. Founded in 2021 by UNM alum Dr. Nicholas Melius, the company has isolated a particular molecule known as circular RNA.
It's highly expressed in brain tissue. It crosses the blood-brain barrier and is found in the blood, so we can understand what's happening inside the brain from the blood.
Because circRNA can be found in the blood, Circular Genomics has been developing a test that will greatly reduce the wait time to see if the prescribed antidepressant is working in the patient.
So we can direct that therapy in a week as opposed to up to 12 months.
The company will be conducting a laboratory-developed test in September called the MindLight Antidepressant Response Test. Now, if that test is successful, that means they can get their product on the market sooner and potentially help millions of Americans suffering from the mental illness.
I personally lost a couple of friends to depression, and that's really the motivation to join the company and help the company get this test to market. What we really hope to do, the overarching theme for the company, is that we want to bring much more precision medicine to the area of mental health and neurology. So the right drug to the right patient at the right time.
Sargent says that if their trials go well this fall, they hope to begin rolling out to market sometime in 2025. When we come back, we are talking with an engineer at Veris Research whose talent in the lab inspired a small army of advocates to keep him here in the land of enchantment. New Mexico Frontiers will be right back. Veris Research has a team of carefully selected scientists and engineers working on high-powered microwave technology, among other projects. And the New Mexico-based company will go to great lengths to cultivate and keep that talent within the borders of our state.
Over the past year, Artem Kuskov has found a promising career path within the walls of Veris Research. The 32-year-old engineer originally set out to become a computer programmer.
It was just not a pleasant experience. So I wanted to do something with my hands. I wanted to not search for little bugs in the code. If something didn't work, I wanted to see it, why it didn't work, and snap it in half if I could, to make it work.
Kuskov first came to the United States as a foreign exchange student in high school. A native of Kyrgyzstan, he had little knowledge of the land of enchantment before coming to study.
Whenever I found out that I was going to New Mexico, I looked up what is New Mexico, and I just saw pictures of just desert and nothing, just one big city. I didn't know I was going to Albuquerque first. I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna be living somewhere on the onion field, just like in the desert with nothing.
His tune changed when he arrived, quickly falling in love with his host family and the Southwest. He came to America through a J-1 or student visa. After graduating high school, he began his undergraduate career at UNM, where he met a man that would change his life forever. Distinguished Professor of Electrical and Computer Engineering, Idil Shamiliglu.
Artem was immediately recognized as having a lot of talent, being super useful and beneficial in the lab.
Artem's undergraduate career in the classroom and the lab helped to develop one of two pivotal relationships for his life here in America. The first was with Edel. The second...
Whenever I was in graduate school, it was in master's program, I was doing swing dancing for a while. This was my way to discharge and unload and essentially just like turn off my brain and just go dance my shoes off and just have fun. And in 2014, I met my now wife. There we kind of like hit it off.
The two were married a few short years later, but the honeymoon period was soon met with uncertainty.
This is the first time when I got reminded of the 2-year rule that I would have to go back, because I said if it was not even on my mind.
The J-1 student visa has a mandatory caveat. The student must return to their home country for at least 2 years before they can seek citizenship in America. Facing the looming requirement to return to Kyrgyzstan, Artem and his new bride sought legal advice, but were told there was nothing they could do.
I was devastated, to say the least. My wife was devastated. I was trying to work out a plan of maybe I can work here still, but remotely, from just going home.
So he went to the only other person he knew could help, his longtime mentor, Edel.
I arranged to get 5 letters of support that attested to the fact that Artem is a person of unusual ability, extraordinary skills, and would be beneficial to the United States.
The 5 letters came from prestigious sources, including the Air Force Office of Scientific Research, a top scientist with AFRL, and Tony Byers, founding CEO of Veris Research.
He's strong in the theoretical background needed, he's strong in the virtual prototyping, and he's also exceptionally strong when it comes to experimental work. And that's the package you're looking for. That's the dream package.
Artem is one of many brilliant minds Veris has championed throughout the years. According to the company, they take recruitment and retention of talent very seriously. They knew they had a home for Artem if they could just secure his immigration status. After submitting letters and applying for the waiver, they waited nearly 2 years before they finally had their answer.
In 2021, after a few years of just waiting, I finally got the waiver, and after this finally got the green card through the marriage, which was just very, very wonderful and a happiest day that I had.
What does it mean for you professionally, personally, that you had so many advocates for you, that you had Veris, that you had UNM, that you had all of these people fighting to keep you here? I
cannot even express my gratitude to the people that were advocating for me, people who stood in support. I am a very, very lucky person.
Artem and his wife have recently welcomed their first child, Adler, a name he shares with a Russian city which means eagle in German. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of New Mexico Frontiers. For more information and other episodes in the series, just head over to krqe.com. Thanks for joining us.